So in the previous tutorial, we looked at how to use the layers in the animator controller to store different animation clips and blend them. In this tutorial, I want to show you how to use avatar masks uh, to achieve a similar effect where you turn on and off selectively certain parts of your animation. So let's say that you have a character that's walking in clip 1 and punching in clip 2. Using the avatar masks, you can selectively turn off certain parts of your animation, and that way you can create a piece of animation that has both walking animation as well as the punching animation. So the first thing that we do to to use the avatar mask, and I'm going to delete this one because that's from my previous attempt. So I'm going to delete this. I'm going to start all over again. So to create an avatar mask, what you do is you right click in uh, the assets window, go to create, and then select avatar mask. Now, as you know, avatar is a Sanskrit word, and I'm using the Sanskrit pronunciation of the word. That's avatar. So I'm going to click on avatar mask right here, and I'm going to name it anim1, so that we know that this avatar is going to be associated with this anim1 layer, which also happens to have this animation named anim1, so that it's consistent and we don't have to worry about figuring out which animation we are associating that mask with. So once you create this mask, you click on it and you see two options, so humanoid and transform. And since we have a custom rig that doesn't really reflect a humanoid skeleton, what we want to do is we want to expand the transform option right here and then click on this little tiny dot next to the field. So once you click on it, it will open a window that will let you choose which animation clip you want to store inside that avatar. So I'm going to select anim1, and as soon as I click on it, in the inspector you see that we are importing a skeleton from mesh at anim1. So we hit import, and then you'll be able to see the entire joint structure that we created in Maya and exported to Unity. So now you can selectively turn some of these joints on and off to turn the animation associated with those joints on and off as well. Now, before we achieve the effect that we want, what we have to do is we have to go to a specific layer in the animator controller. So in this case, it's anim1. We click on the little gear icon, and then where it says mask, we want to click on the little dot and select anim1. So this is the avatar that we created and we stored or we associated it with the clip. But now we want to associate this avatar with this layer, and that's what we are doing right now by clicking on this little dot. So I'm going to select anim1. So now we have applied the mask to anim1 or to this layer. So all we have to do now is select which of the joints should be in play. So now if I hit the play button, let's see what happens. So we still have the full motion, this sort of a bending motion for the lower half of our animation. Now, if we want to turn off that animation, what you have to do is identify which joint or identify the number of joints that are um, responsible for bending the mesh, and then you go to your transform drop down, and you navigate down to the joint that is responsible for the animation. In this case, it's joint 6 that's creating the bend. So I'm going to uncheck that option or that joint. And if my reasoning is right, if I'm recalling it correctly, and if joint 6 is indeed uh, driving this animation, then when I play this animation, nothing will happen because that animation has been turned off. So I suppose I picked the wrong joint. So let's go back to Maya and see which joint I want to turn off. So that is joint 2. So I made a mistake by unchecking joint 6. So what I have to do in Unity is not uncheck joint 6, but rather uncheck joint 2 and then play this animation again and see what happens. Now nothing will happen because this animation that you saw previously was driven by joint 2, and now that we have turned it off, that joint is no longer in play. Now if I want to turn that animation on again, I can check the box and hit play, and that animation should play again.